Hello and welcome to the channel. I am Mark from Forge and Flow, and I am also your Qigong guide. Have you ever found yourself in a state of either or, this or that, right or left, his or hers? The state of duality, these separate opposing forces. Well, that's not necessarily how things work in nature. Now, it can be said that there are opposing forces, but in reality, in nature, those opposing forces are not against each other. They are complementary and harmonious and work with each other. And we see this very visually strikingly in the Yin and Yang symbol, an ancient Taoist symbol that was devised by just observing nature and seeing the interplay of light and dark. These shadows gently moving across and then light gently moving behind it, and then over and over and over again in a cycle. That is how every day works, day and night, light and dark, in this continual state of harmony. If you'd like to learn more about Yin Yang, I did a nice deep dive on it. You can check out the video right here where we learn about all different aspects of Yin and Yang energy, how we see them in our everyday lives, and what they truly mean and how we can interact and balance them more within ourselves. That is a key component of Qigong in and of itself, is balancing the energies. We see this again and again where people find extremes. They get into one state or another, focused on this or that, and forget about the blending of two things happening together. We even see this in the ancient Taoist text of the Tao Te Ching. In fact, chapter number 2, we talk about this concept of the twos. And it's funny that it's the second chapter. The first chapter talks about the one, and the second chapter talks about the two. If you'd like to learn more about that, you can check out this video from the Jammin' on the Tao session where we go deep into chapter number 2. But to get back to Qigong, we can really cultivate ways to harness those energies by just simply having an awareness of them, but doing some very interesting maneuvers and motions, even with the breath, to harmonize the two. So sometimes we can find ourselves in one or the other a little bit too much. Think about your life and how maybe things play out for you. Maybe you can be a little bit too yin, a little bit too going with the flow, or maybe you're a little bit too yang, maybe to the aggressive state where you're constantly grasping, constantly needing more, looking for more. Now, in certain situations, either one can work. What the key is to balance the energies so that we know how, when, why to use them. That way we can have better responses, more appropriate responses in any given situation when we can really understand the context around us and not be so locked into one reaction or the other. So doing some very easy Qigong moves by harmonizing those energies, simply by bringing an awareness to them and working with them, understanding how the palms work in terms of yin and yang, we can start to draw some parallels to ourselves and figure out ways to balance those energies more within us, teaching our nervous system, teaching our emotions to respond appropriately when those situations come up unexpectedly. So stay tuned, we're going to jump into a couple of little flows and we will work specifically with the yin and yang energies. All right, are you ready to work with your own yin and yang energies? Well, first thing we're going to do is bow into the practice. We do this every time by bringing the feet together and taking a nice big deep breath in and out with a bow. And this signifies a little bit of a gratitude towards ourselves for taking the time to do this cultivation practice, gratitude towards each other and all those out there practicing mindfulness and vitality enhancing methods right now, and all the people who brought this knowledge to us and shared it with the world so that we can partake and share with each other. So nice big inhale up with the hands, Putting the palms together, bringing it down to the center through the heart, making a gentle bow with the exhale. Thank you for being here. And press it down, relaxing the hands by the sides. And we're going to open up the high horse stance. So bringing the feet about shoulder width apart. Feet nice and flat and firm on the ground, as parallel as is comfortable. Slight dip in the knees, relaxing the knees. We're not sinking down into a squat, but we don't want to lock the knees. So slightly unlock those knees, a little bend, hips tilting forward, helping us to elongate our spine, opening the chest, relaxing and dropping the shoulders, hands by the side, fingers relaxed, and chin slightly down and back to help elongate the cervical spine and the back of the neck. It's called the high horse stance. And this is a very fundamental stance to get our body aligned and our posture corrected. So like I said, we're working with the yin and yang energies. What does that mean? We can see that in a lot of different ways, and please refer to that video about yin and yang to learn more. But simply speaking, we have two sides of our bodies. You might be familiar with the right brain, left brain component of things, and that would be the right brain being a little bit more yin, or that creative energy. Left brain being a little bit more yang, that analytical, logical. But what's interesting is that it seems through thousands of years of research and practicing Chinese medicine and acupuncture, tracing those meridians, that everything crosses into the body. So if we have the yin on the right brain, the yin ends up being the left side of the body. And if the yang is the left brain, it ends up being the right side of the body. So your right hand would be naturally more yang, and your left hand naturally more yin. But we can turn them over, and that is the beauty of being able to harmonize them. It's not always this or that. We can turn things over by creating what we call the Tai Chi ball or the energy ball, and working with that energy within our palms to manipulate and turn it over. Also thinking about the breath, typically it is said that breathing in is more yin in nature because you're taking something inward, and the yang is more outward. We're breathing out, so that is naturally more an outward expression or yang. But it can also be seen that taking a deep breath and making a sigh of relief is a very relaxing exhale. So that would be yin in nature. And think about being outside, taking a nice big fresh breath in, invigorating, revitalizing. That can be yang in nature. So you see, there's not always one way to look at things. It depends on the context. And we go over that as well in the Jamin on the Tao series, talking about context and how things play out differently and being able to have that awareness. So we're going to do mostly motions here with the breath. First one I'm going to show you is called parting the wild horse's mane. Now this is a classic motion. It can also be called harmonizing the yin and yang, but parting the wild horse's mane is a very old motion and a very easy one too. And we're going to start by forming, like I mentioned earlier, that Tai Chi ball or the energy ball. We want our hands a couple of inches apart, palms facing each other. I have my right hand on the bottom, left hand on the top. So if the right hand is naturally yang, it's going to be facing upward, embracing that yang heavenly energy. And if the left hand is naturally yin, it's going to be facing down, facing that naturally earthly yin energy. But we can turn it over as well, which we will do, but not right now. And what this motion is a separating of the energies. Right now we're harmonized, and we're going to separate that energy. And what we do is taking that bottom hand and bringing it out in front on the side view, out in front to about maybe chest height, keeping that palm upward. So we're just simply taking the hand and going out, maybe a little bit of a 45-degree angle, out towards the side. And then that top hand is going to press down and back. On the side. Bottom hand goes out. Top hand goes down and back towards the hip. So remembering that stance, relax the knees. And let's just try this a couple of times. Separating. And bring it back. Harmonize. Separating. Harmonizing. Now we can add a breath to it. Inhale as you go out. Exhale as you come back. Or you can reverse that. You can exhale going out. Inhale coming back in. And that's the beauty of these practices, is that you can make it unique to you. There's not one right or wrong way to do it. Whatever feels comfortable and natural to you. Breathe. Focus on that breathing. And fingers are relaxed. And wrists are relaxed. Right now we're just standing stationary, facing forward. Not really adding any twists or turns yet, but we will. Do 2 more. Just getting this emotion down of separating and harmonizing. 1 more. Separate, breathing, harmonize. Now turn that ball over. So now the right hand is facing the earth, that yang hand is facing the yin energy, and that yin hand is facing the yang energy, the sky, the cosmos, the heavens. And same thing in the other direction now. The bottom hand comes out to the side, top hand down and back. Bring it back, harmonize. And out. And again, choose whatever breathing pattern you like here, whether you're inhaling on the out or exhaling on the out. Inhaling, coming back, exhaling, coming back, your choice. Whatever feels comfortable and natural and normal for you. But you can also try something that doesn't feel natural to see how it feels. Because this is the yin and the yang. We can harmonize them, we can have them go in a cycle. They don't always need to be one or the other, this or that. We're trying to disillusion ourselves from the concept of duality and recognize that these forces exist together in harmony, in oneness. Whatever feels good and interesting to you. Okay, let's turn that ball over again. Now we're going to add a slight little twist as we go out. Slight twist. Now we're facing pretty much 45 degrees. Not going all the way to the side, 90 degrees, and then slightly come back. Now with this, start from that original position again, right hand on the bottom, left hand on the top. When we go out, the top hand, the one that's up higher, is going to become the new top hand, the one that's down low, and it becomes the new bottom hand. So watch this, top hand, bottom hand. Now we're in the opposite way. We started here, we end here, bringing them back across. And then we can go to the other side. And now top hand, bottom hand, and we're back in that original position. So we're alternating this way, that way, this way, that way. And when we get into a flow, see that we're really feeling this pulling and pushing, this stretching and gathering motion of the yin and yang energy. So again, let's start right hand on bottom. Let's try to get into a little bit of a flow here. Okay, so let's go out. Turning the hands over. Bring them back together. Now other side. Out. Top hands to the top, bottom hands to the bottom, and out other side. Top hands to the top, bottom to the bottom. So we're alternating. Now if it feels a little clumsy in the beginning, that's fine. Just got to practice, practice, practice. and you'll feel more of a flow. Don't worry about doing it right or wrong. Just try to get this concept of separating and harmonizing. Separating and harmonizing. If you want to just focus on one side for now, that's fine. You can always come back to this video to relearn this. But when you get it down, you get into a nice flow, get some real nice relaxation, really good breathing, and really good working of the yin and yang energy. I'm going to do a few more before we move on. But you could do this as long as you like. It can become very meditative, very relaxing, and you could very easily lose track of time and say, wow, I was doing that for like 15 minutes, that's crazy. One more. And come back, press down, relax. Another motion to work with the yin and yang energies is called separating heaven and earth. And this is much simpler than the last one. We're doing not quite as much. And this is actually one of the pieces of the 8 brocades, which is a beautiful form that's actually not super old, maybe like 800 years or so old, because some of these are many, many, many thousands of years old. But this one consists of 8 different motions specifically aimed at decreasing fatigue. And there'll be other videos about that specific form, but this is just one piece of that. So we can bring the feet a little bit closer on this one, maybe about a foot apart or so. And with the hands by the sides, palms facing up. One hand, let's start with the right hand, going to press up, and the left hand going to press down. What we're doing here is making sure the palms face certain ways. So the upward facing palm is going to face the sky, the heavens. The downward facing is going to be facing the earth. So, separating heaven and earth. Right now we're harmonized. Heaven and earth are together. Yin and yang are together. The hands next to each other. We're going to separate by pressing one up, twisting and turning, pressing up at the same time. The other one presses down. We're flexing the wrists here. So the upward hand, fingers are facing behind, and the lower hand, the fingers are facing in front of you. Flexing the wrists so that the palms are flat against the heaven and against the earth. And then we bring back to the center. Alternating sides. One hand up, one hand down. Get a sense that you're really pressing something up and you're really pressing something down, but not so much that you're overextending. Keep a slight bend in the elbows, but really get a sense of pressing up, pressing down, and then come back. Remember to flex the wrists. This is really great for the connective tissues in the arms and the wrists. Help with circulation. And come back. Now we can add a breath to it. Inhale as we press. Stretch. Exhale as we relax. Alternating sides. Inhale, press and stretch. Exhale, coming back through the center. Continuous motion, flowing. Pressing, inhale. Exhale, coming back. Without pausing, maybe a very slight hold of the inhale, but not really that much. And back down. Exhaling through. Inhaling, pressing. Exhale, coming through. Inhale and press. Again, flexing those wrists. Upward facing hand, fingers pointing back behind you. Downward facing hand, fingers facing front. Flexing the wrists so that the palms are flat, flat against the earth, flat against the sky. Pressing up, pressing down. Heaven up, earth down. Again, exhaling through. Inhale, press. Exhale through. Inhale, press. And just like the last one, you can feel free to alternate the breathing if you like. You want to exhale into that stretch. Inhale through the center. Feel free to explore, experiment with the breathing patterns, bringing that conscious awareness to your breath, being able to control it and work with it is what is breath work. And let's do one more on each side. One. And back down. Relax. The last motion we're going to do here is simply called gathering from heaven and earth. So you see the theme here. Heaven and earth show up quite a lot in the Yin and Yang methodology and theories of heaven or sky or cosmos, that boundlessness of the out there being very yang, masculine, active. And then there's the earth, the downward, depth, darkness, stability, grounding, feminine nature. So those are pure yang and pure yin, up and down, above and below. But they don't exist separately. They exist with each other. The earth is in the cosmos holds the earth. They work together. So that would be the pure yang and the pure yin, but they're constantly complementing each other. And they are the universal primal energies. And we can gather energies with our awareness and emotion from those ever abundant energies. If you feel like you need a little bit more yin in your life, you can gather from earth. If you feel like you need a little bit more yang in your life, you can gather from heaven. If you feel like you need a little bit more balance, you gather from both. So let's open up the stance a little bit wider here, back into that original high horse stance with the feet about shoulder width apart. And we're going to gather from the earth as if we're scooping down a nice big chunk of earth and bringing it up into our center. And then gathering up from heaven and down into us, into our center. And we do that alternating back and forth. So a slight bend, you don't have to go too far down if you have any issues bending, but you can gather down from earth and up from heaven. If you only want to bend this far, that's fine. If you can go further, that's great. Whatever you can do, stay in your comfort zone. So let's gather from the earth with an inhale and bring it up into our center with an exhale. And then gather from heaven, bringing it down into our center. Exhale. Gather from earth. Inhale, hold it, exhale. Gather from heaven. Inhale, bring it into the center with an exhale. So feeling these ever abundant, primal, original source energies of yin and yang, heaven and earth. Again, yin being the earth below, nurturing, grounding, stabilizing, feminine, dark. Yang being heaven, sky, light, expansiveness and boundlessness. And gathering, making a nice flow at your own pace, gathering, holding. Gathering with the inhale, holding with the exhale. It's like we're scooping from these energies, holding it into our center, gathering and holding. And without too much pausing, maybe a very slight pause on the hold, and then go right into the next one. At your own pace. Make it very intentional. Slowing it down. Focus on the breath. Allowing the breath to lead the motion, meaning the breath takes place very slightly before the motion. So inhale, then gather. Exhale, then hold. Inhale, then gather. Exhale, then hold. But very slightly before. And then when we bring it all together, make a flow, feels almost seamless. It almost looks like you're making a figure 8 with the motions, like that infinity symbol, out and in and out and in, mimicking that ceaseless, ever-changing cycle of heaven and earth, day and night, light and dark, yin and yang. Remembering the concepts of flow, of cycles, of balance, and harmony, not being stuck in an excess or an extreme or complacency. Feeling grounded and strong below, and expansive and light above. One of the best analogies is a tree, rooted deep into the ground, big stump going into the ground, big trunk, and then it gets lighter and lighter, branches get smaller, and the leaves, and stretching up into the light, while reaching down into the depths and the darkness. It is the epitome of a very balanced creature, balance between yin and yang, stretching down, stretching up, always gathering from the earth, through the soil, the water, and gathering from the sky, through the light and the wind. So, if you want to be more balanced, be more like a tree. Let's just do one more heaven, and one more earth. And come back up to center and relax. Shake it out if you need to. And let's bring the feet together. Just like we bowed into the class, we're going to bow out from this class, from this practice. Gratitude in our hearts. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe, share with a friend, somebody who you think could use a little bit more balancing. Please come back to this as often as you like. Stay tuned for more. Thank you so much.